Continuing from the other day, we were talking about how are we going to reset the world, and we spoke about the demons. First, we made an analysis. How is the world presently organized by the demons, and for what purpose? And a recap. The demons organize the world for the purpose of their control and exploitation, so that they can own everything and control everybody as much as possible. And to that aim, they've established various control systems, such as government, hierarchical control, money system, and corporations, institutions like this. And for us who grow up in such a world, we think this is perfectly normal, but it's normal for demons. It's not normal for a regular human society, or especially for a spiritual culture. The demon society, because they use money, they've created an artificial way of living. Money allows people to live in a very extremely artificial way of life that is completely detached or disconnected from reality in every sense. That's what they want. They want to have such illusory pleasures. And so their entire culture is situated in the modes of Rajagun and Tamagun. And of course, without sattva-guna, everything is gradually destroyed, and we see that happening in our lifetimes. I didn't think it would happen so fast. I didn't think in my lifetime I would see such a destruction of this world as I've seen. It's really amazing. Okay, so if we're going to have a great reset, then what do we suggest for a reset, and how should we reset? And of course, our idea would be to reset this world so that it functions according to spiritual principles, and we'll talk about what that will be here today. The first purpose of human society is to enable everyone to grow spiritually. Since that is the main purpose of human life, then that should be the purpose of human society. Of course, spiritual is one thing, but also the body needs to be taken care of, and so the body must be taken care of. We could put this simply by saying that everybody has a place in a spiritual culture. And place means a place to maintain your body. A place means proper relationships with others. You have a place in relationship to other people. And a place also means proper work activity according to your guna and karma, according to your nature. So in a spiritual culture, everybody should have a proper place. We also suggest that this culture should be situated strictly in sattva-guna as far as possible, avoiding rajagun and tamagun. For the simple fact that rajagun and tamagun degrade consciousness and sattva-guna uplifts consciousness. If we want to get to the transcendental stage of Shuddha Sattva, you know Shuddha Sattva? So Shuddha Sattva, you can get there from Sattva, not from Rajas. So we want to come to Sattva, and then from there, simple jump to Shuddha Sattva. So no Rajagun and Tamagun means no hierarchical control, no government structure, no artificial wealth, and no artificial way of living, natural way of living.
Can you repeat this? Sattva-guna means?
No Rajas and Tamas.
Yeah, and no government control.
No hierarchical control, no government control, and no artificial wealth. And then further, we want to arrange society so that it functions according to the laws of God, which means Bhagavad Gita and Manu Samhita. So Manu, Manu is the lawgiver for mankind. So he is a book called Manu Samhita, which is called the Dharma Shastra, Dharma, how to live. Actually, all in all, there's something like 23 Dharma Shastras. Manu is the main one. But for us, also, Bhagavad Gita is Dharma Shastra, how to live. And I explain that in some detail in spiritual economics. In fact, that's the whole idea of spiritual economics. If we're spiritual beings, how do we live as a spiritual being in a material world? What does it mean to be a spiritual being? Is a spiritual being just supposed to do anything that the materialists do? Or if we're going to live as spiritual persons, shouldn't we be doing things differently? And Krishna is giving instructions in Bhagavad Gita how to live. And so that should form also the basis for our way of living. So the question then becomes, okay, these are nice ideas, just like Klaus Schwab and his group, they have all nice ideas, the Millennium Development Goals. Okay, nice ideas, but then how do we get there from here is the question. And for us, the answer is basically to go back to the future. I mentioned to you before this woman, Helena Norberg Hodge, and she made video, Ancient Futures, and also Economics of Happiness. Have you heard? Have you seen? No? So she lived in Ladakh before they opened to the West. And at that time, Ladakh was a closed culture, and they were still living natural, simple way of life in sattva-guna. And everybody, they had a difficult life, but they had what they needed, and they were in sattva. They were happy, and they were satisfied. And so she watched how everything became transformed as the country was opened up to foreigners, and foreign goods and foreign money started coming in, and how it transformed the culture. Basically, what it did was bring Rajaguna and Tamaguna into the culture, and with the results of Rajaguna and Tamaguna, which means unhappiness, disparity, illusion, isolation, alienation, and so on. So these two videos are very good, and you should try to find them. I don't know if you can see Economics of Happiness. Maybe we can do that for a... didn't we watch Ancient Futures for popcorn night last time? No?
Only
What?
Ladakh. Yeah, before.
Yeah, that was Ladakh. Yeah,
Ladakh.
that's the Ancient Futures.
Aha.
Yeah.
Living in Ladakh.
Yeah.
We watched this.
Okay. Then the other one, Economics of Happiness. I think I downloaded that. We could watch that also. So, all we have to do really is go back to the way people were living before. We have to rewind. And in my spiritual economics book, I trace out how we've come from that natural way of living to where we are in modern society. And we simply have to unwind the clock and go backwards. It will probably happen in a very abrupt and difficult way, because when money stops, then you have no artificial way of living anymore. You have to immediately
Panic.
You have to immediately transform, right?
Yeah.
So, but that way of living, this is the way of living given by the Devas. And I recount some of these. This is how the indigenous cultures of the world, they were all living, and they were given their way of life by the devas. And I remember reading about the Incas from South America, and for the Inca, their deity was the sun god, and their legend was that the sun god came personally and taught them how to live, gave them instructions, what to do, how to do, like this. And they were living like that, and they lived for a very long time. No money, no wars. They were...
Inca.
Huh? Inca.
Inca.
Yeah.
No money.
No money.
They have gold everywhere. Yeah. There is no value everywhere.
Yeah. So the Spanish became crazy by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had natural abundant wealth. And they were happy, situated in sattva-guna. Anyway, we could study many cultures. Probably if you go back and study your ancient culture here, you probably find the same thing. I don't know if you can still get that information. Is it available? Yeah. That'd be a very nice subject to look at, and then you could, yeah. So the problem is this is not attractive to people in modern society. Because why? Because we're in Rajagun and Tamagun. And for Rajagun and Tamagun, sattva-guna doesn't look very nice. Right? Which is why there's not many people here.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah, it's so hard. I get my fingers dirty. Huh. Like this. But when the artificial standard of living stops, you have to eat, huh? And then very quickly things can change. So we want to establish society according to the laws of God, Bhagavad Gita, and Manu Samhita. First principle is Ishavasham principle. Huh? Ishavasham idam sarvam yatkinja jagatyam jagatena kiktena bunchitam agrida kashasvedanam. You know the translation?
I don't know translation. I know what is Ishavasam.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
translation.
So everything animate and inanimate within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. Therefore, one should accept only those things which are necessary for himself, which have been set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. This is a principle of life. If we live like this, everybody will have what they need. The arrangement of God. God arranges for people to be born. He also arranges that they can be taken care of. This is a law of the universe. There's no scarcity. There's no overpopulation. That's atheistic propaganda. The only problem is some people take too much, like Bill Gates. He has 240,000 acres of land in the United States.
He like gardening.
Yeah. Right. So, what's he going to do is keep people off of it so that they cannot take care of themselves. Anyway, Ishavasham principle. That's the first thing. And then nirmama, right? It's same idea that goes along with that. Not mine, right? Whatever I have under my control, not for my concept of ownership, but because we need things to live. Now, in Slavic culture, and I don't know how this applied here, but at least in Ukraine and maybe other parts east of here, they would periodically reallocate resources. There was no such thing as private property. There was property that you would use for a while. And perhaps, for example, you have family, you have children. As they grow up, you no longer need all those things that you had, and then you reallocate the resources. So, for example, my mother and father, they have 5 children. So they had a big house. And then after 1980, all the children were gone. But from 1980 for the next 30 some years, my mother lived in that house by herself. She doesn't need such a big house, right? That could have been given to a young family. But of course, she was attached, and we have this concept of private property. It's mine. But in the Slavic culture, there was no such thing, that you would use things that you needed, and every now and again it would be reallocated, and everything would be adjusted according to the needs of the current time. Wonderful idea. Now, another principal aspect of godly culture is duty. In Bhagavad Gita, whenever Krishna speaks about sattva-guna, he says it in the context of duty. Sattva means duty, means I have an obligation to the other members of society. And those duties were given according to Varna and Ashram. So ashram means different stages of life: boyhood, married life, retired life, renounced life. And then Varna means according to guna and karma. So each person, according to their nature, their guna and karma, they would have particular duty. Those who did intellectual work, they had an obligation to teach. Those persons who were labor, they had an obligation to serve. This is their duty. Children had obligation to serve parents. Parents also, grahastas had obligation to maintain all of society. Vanaprasthas also to serve in various capacities. And then, of course, sannyasi or renunciate to teach spiritual principles and give spiritual guidance. So these are the primary characteristics. It's not that I simply take and enjoy and I live at the expense of others, capitalism. But no, even I am allowed to accept whatever is necessary, not more. And then I also had an obligation to give. Now, what is necessary? Let's talk about that for a minute. According to a person's station in life, they may require more facility. Once when I lived in Jagannath Puri, I had an occasion to go to the collector's house. The collector is some kind of government officer in the local government, highly placed person. And we had to be at his house. This is his private residence at 8 o'clock in the morning. His foyer, greeting hall, bigger than this room. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, there was 30 or 40 people in there waiting to see him. So he's a big man. He needs a lot of facility. Okay? It's not that everybody gets the same amount, No, some people require more because they have greater responsibility. So the problem is, in modern society, everybody becomes envious. So you've got more than I do. Why? Because we don't have sattva-guna, therefore we're not satisfied, and we become envious. But in sattva, when they become satisfied with what they have, and they recognize, I don't need anything more. Why? Because I'm satisfied. Okay. In a spiritual culture, the temple is the center for all of social activities. In other words, it becomes a spiritual culture because the purpose of the culture is to help everyone grow spiritually. Therefore, the temple must be a central aspect of social life, both of all parts of life, actually. And so the temple generally is situated in the center of town. Everybody can go to the center. Many times the markets are located around the temple like that. But everybody comes to the temple every day to see the deities, to worship, and so on like that. And it becomes a prominent aspect of society. We have to develop that here. We don't have such a, let's say, our social culture is not intertwined with the temple culture so much, say like in Jagannath Puri. Did you spend any time there? Jagannath Puri? No. You know what Jagannath Puri is? Okay. This is Lord Jagannath Temple. It's in, Puri is in the east coast of India, about halfway down. And so big temple. And from that temple, they serve at least 100,000 people every day, food. So a lot of activity going on in the kitchen. Great activity, and the temple is the hub for the entire region, actually. And it is it does provide the social structure for the area, because people will have their service in the temple, which gives them, again, a place in relationship to others. And so they'll have certain, again, obligations or duties to others. And then gradually certain protocols develop in terms of respect, how you respect each other. The culture is that, and we've spoke about this before, there's a great deal of emphasis in Vedic culture in terms of proper greeting and proper reception of other people. First thing is to recognize who is superior, and then to give them proper reception. And in our scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, we can probably find 6 or 7 big disasters that happen when somebody is not given a proper reception. So this is this culture comes to us from the spiritual world. Okay, culture means ultimately what behaviors support the development of loving relationship with Krishna, and which behaviors take away from that relationship. So this is called rasa and rasabhas. So rasa, this is encouraging, supporting the relationship. Rasabhas, this is things that interfere with the relationship. So this is the beginning of all culture, and this is what culture here. In other words, what we are doing now is it's a training ground. It's a practice, so that we can learn proper behaviors, so that we can enter into the spiritual world, because they do not allow anybody who's not cultured to enter that place. So we need to learn here, and then we will be qualified to enter. Education of the children also is geared specifically for the purpose of spiritual evolution and for cultural integration. And the way that is, I won't go into detail, but basically the idea of Gurukula, the children were identified according to their nature at young age. The Sudha boys, they would only be educated up until 8th grade, 8, maybe 9 years old, and principally about arithmetic or a little bit of social interaction, whatever they needed to do to train, to do their trade. And then at 9 years old, maybe 10 years old, they would just go and work with their parents, with their father. Because boys like that, they don't want to be in school, right? Today, they try to force them in school. They can't stay in school. They fail. They flunk out. They lower the requirements to try to make them pass, and the whole education becomes a failure for everybody. Let them leave. Give them. When I was young, we used to have vocational school. I grew up in an industrial city, Detroit, and there used to be machine shop and different kind of shop classes where the boys who were from working families, they could learn those skills a little bit in school, and then they would go to work with their fathers. They would go to work Ford Motor Company or something like this. They don't have that anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, so the education for the children is so that they can find their place properly in the culture and be properly, again, have their place, be properly engaged. And another aspect of this, which would be a very controversial idea today, is marriage at a very young age. And this was the system in India even up until when Prabhupada was younger. The parents, with the help of competent astrologers, would look at the horoscopes of the children, and according to the matching of the horoscope, and the parents could see how their families would compare socially. The idea is that the boy and girl should have as much of a similar background as possible. So similar culture, similar education, similar money, so on like that. And so that, why? So that they understand the mindset of each other. And so the parents would make the arrangement for the marriage rather than love marriages, because we know the nature of passion. Love happens, and then people forget, we say, love will conquer everything. But it doesn't. No. So the parents decide this at a young age, and then they marry the children. They still live with their parents until the girl achieves puberty. Then the boy and girl can live together. But she knows from the time she's very young, I have a husband. She doesn't have to be thinking about, who am I going to find for a man? It's very, her mind is fixed, stable, and there's not all this promiscuity, looking around, searching around, why? Because it's the chastity of the women that maintains the stability of the culture. Unless the women are chaste, the culture cannot remain stable. It will become destroyed. And so understanding this principle, the marriages are performed at a young age. And then as far as economics goes, no money of any kind, not even gold and silver. Some people have the idea, we'll get real money, not paper money, real money. We'll have gold and silver. But the fact is that gold and silver doesn't work. Prior to paper money, they used gold and silver, but every society, every civilization, they were not able to resist the temptation of debasing their money. It means mixing common metals with the silver. Usually they would mix silver and nickel. And so why? You want to get something for nothing. That's the whole idea, right? So we'll add more nickel and we'll spend it. It doesn't work. The longest civilization that had stable currency was the Byzantine Empire. They maintained their currency without debasing it for 1,000 years. And their money became the preferred money because everybody could trust it. But within, I think it was something like 150 years of them starting to debase their currency, whole civilization fell. Same thing for the Romans, same thing for the Greeks, everyone. So even gold and silver cannot work. But why have gold and silver? Because gold and silver means rajagun. Huh? It means a store of wealth that I can accumulate my wealth, and I can, in my mind, right, I can become rich. But instead of that, what is their need for money? There is a need for money as long as the society is established in the proper way, whereby everyone is taught the principle that Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, Karmanye varikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma palaheturbur mate sangos tvakarmani. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. This is another important principle of Bhagavad Gita. So, the fruits don't belong to you. Yes, you do your duty, but if you want to keep the results, Krishna says a few verses later that kripana palahitava, one who wants to keep the fruits, they're a miser.
Ja znam da je kripana škrtac. What is miser?
Kripana.
Kripana, but I know what is kripana, but I don't know Croatian. Is one who is
Miser?
škrtac, kako se kaže? Oh, this.
He doesn't want to give,
He wants everything for. Okay, yeah. Škrtac.
Generally, you think of miser as somebody has a lot of money and they won't spend it.
Yeah.
Okay. Have I given a class on spiritual economics yet?
No.
Oh, we should do that too.
Just mention, but no.
We should do some of that. Yeah. Anyway, I give long classes on this subject. Many classes.
On subject kripana or?
No, spiritual economics.
Aha, okay.
This Ishavasham principle, the idea. Karma pala, keeping the fruits, the results of karma. So anyway, the idea is no money. Money, what then instead of money? You can have what sometimes they call commodity currency. You use 1 kilo of rice for exchange. But better is just give a gift economy. Right? If nothing is mine, what is mine to trade? Right? Better if we learn how to simply give what we have. I take care of you, I give to you, you give to me, we all give to each other. You don't need money, right? A simple example, right? I have a magic wand, and if I wave my magic wand, I can make all the money disappear tonight. And then my magic is that everybody wakes up and they continue to go about their business the same way that they're doing yesterday, except you don't need any money. Everything can still go on very nicely, except you don't need cashiers in the stores. You wouldn't need bankers. You wouldn't need most of the lawyers. You wouldn't need you wouldn't need the bankers at all, right? And all those people could actually do something productive instead of counting money all the time. So you don't need it. It's because of our cultural conditioning, and because we're conditioned by Rajgun and Tamagun. But best is not to have money economy at all. Use gift economy. Anyway, there's more I can say. When I give a class on spiritual economics sometime, I'll speak about that. Also, when we do that, when we eliminate money, this forces everybody to into a natural way of life. You cannot have an artificial standard of living without money. You can't live on the 15th floor of some building without money. Not possible. How are you going to eat? Huh? So everybody gets spread out on the land. You don't have cities with congestion, with traffic, with all those requirements, pollution. People live spread out on the land, just like we inherited from our forefathers, and they gave us a pristine earth with no pollution up to even 50, 60 years ago. It's only the last 50, 60 years that it's become so spoiled. So this will solve, you take money out, it will solve the economic problem. It will solve all of the money problems. No, there will be no poverty as long as people are willing to work. And people then living like that, according to sattva, when you have a subsistence economy, I need you. I need your help. You need my help. So we become the social security for each other. So rather than depending on money, the money is going to protect me, I'm depending on you and you're depending on me. So I want you to be a good person, as good a person as possible. I have an interest in you. I don't want to see you become degraded, alcoholic, drunkard, womanizer. I want you to be good, honest, on time, dependable, hardworking. And you want the same thing from me. So we lift each other up in such a situation. Rather than in money economy, you go to hell, I don't care. I'm not depending on you. I have my money. So this is what nirvishesha shunyavadi that comes along with money. And this also solves another very big problem, which is, who am I and what's my right work, right? In America, we have many, many books. You go in the bookstore, when there used to be bookstores, you go in the bookstore, there was a whole section of books. How do I find my proper work, right? Because people are working just for money and they're unhappy and they go, oh, okay, well, what should I be doing? What's my place, really, right? According to my guna and karma. Of course, they don't explain it like that. But this problem immediately becomes solved because, first of all, people in such a culture, every contribution is valued. And so if you find a way that you're going to contribute that somebody else is not contributing, this is very nice. So or let me put it this way, you have the freedom to find yourself to make the contribution that you want to make. Okay? The problem in modern society is people don't like their work, but they don't have the freedom to find out what is my proper work. Huh? Because why? I have to stay in this job, I have to get money, then I'm too tired, I can't figure out, I have to go to school again, I can't take care, it's very difficult. So the whole thing is turned up, modern society, it's just turned upside down because the values are put in the wrong place. The values are put in money instead of instead of allowing people to properly find their place. And I gave you the example before about the carpenter, right? The lawyer who quit his job when he was 40 years old, became a carpenter. So things like that. So that problem becomes this much less of a problem. Why? Because first of all, there's not that artificial standard of I just get money and I forget who I am. People will very much more easily be able to find their place in society or move from one place to another until they become happy. Okay. So that's the summary notes of our greater reset. Any suggestions? Anything I missed? It's really not that difficult, you know?
I think it's not.
Yeah. It's I mean, I was surprising when I'm making these notes, I'm going, not that difficult.
But I have one question.
Yeah.
Before many thousand millenniums years, when is Satya Yuga, we have now these some monumental stones or building pyramid or something from these ages, and these people live in a sattva-guna, but have a very high technology, very high life culture, and the lifestyle is very high. Now this moment is very degraded for us people and for making the new new organization without the money, because we thinking this I must come the poor people, poor person, because without the money I can do nothing. I'm loser without the money, and the lots of people don't have, also me, I don't have the view how we can come to the high possibility in this time with this resource we have now.
What do you mean high possibility?
Mhm.
What do you mean high possibility?
For living with all these gifts of the Satya Yuga.
Well, that will not take place quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. In a highly developed culture, you can have very narrow specialization, like we have today. Some people study some little arcane thing that nobody else knows about. In a primitive culture, there's practically no specialization, very little, and most people wear many hats. So we have to start there from there. But in terms of it being poverty, there's a really cute little video that I'll send you a link for. I think this fellow's name is, I don't remember. He's from some Southeast Asian country. And the video is about how he was a young man growing up, and they said, okay, now you have to go to university. And so he had to go to the big city to go to university. He had to work hard, and all he could get was one bowl of rice every day. And working, study so hard, and still only one bowl of rice. And finally he said, why are we doing this? This is difficult work, or the difficult way of living. Why not live easy life? So he went back home to his village, and he started making houses from mud. And he could make one house in 1 month. He said, the people I went to university with, they graduate, they work hard. In 30 years, they can get one house. He said, I can get one house every month. Now, my problem is which house I will sleep in. and I have all the rice that I want to eat. I'm producing 1 ton from my land every year. So there's no scarcity. So he says the video is about why do we make life hard? Life does not have to be hard, but we make it very hard. It's made to be hard because it's an artificial standard of living where you require something that you cannot get yourself, which means money, rather than just getting food or houses, which you can get yourself from your land. So life is, it's so nice. It's exactly what Prabhupada was telling all of us 50 years ago, right? Don't work hard, live simply on the land, produce for yourself. And devotees aren't doing, but here's some young man from Cambodia or someplace who's actually doing it. I don't know if I answered your question.
Step by step.
Devotee, remember that don't work hard. Because this is like joke, but no joke.
Yeah, they remember that part.
Yeah. Because when I talk to devotee, hard. Yeah, it's hard. For good digestion, you must hard work. Yeah. And like in town, you must also work something.
Well, the idea here is you work. He said a lazy man can work 3 months of the year and get by.
Lazy man?
Lazy man can work 3 months of the year, 1 growing season,
Okay.
and he can survive. A more ambitious man, he can work 2 growing seasons. This is India, of course, right? And you become a little comfortable. And if you're very ambitious, 3 growing seasons, and in time you become wealthy. So that's what he means. Don't work hard.
Yeah.
So when we get established, it won't be hard. We have pioneering work. Pioneering work is difficult. So to set up the infrastructure, I was telling you, there's the oxen. They used to have oxen power, 5, 10 oxen going, turning, a lot of power. So, but that will come in time. So that's our great reset. That's how we want to reset. We agree the world needs to be reset, but this way, not according to the World Economic Forum. Yeah.
You said in no institution and on beginning lecture. And in Vedic culture, we have kings and different institutions.
That's an informal institution. Formal, when I would say no institution, I mean formal institution. Generally, this means an institution that's established in law, like the government. Okay? The difference is, in informal institution, king, the authority is put in a person of ability. Authority is given to a person according to their ability. The king, if he has ability, he's given the authority. You can do the work, right? You're the brave guy. You go out, you lead the troops, you become king. Not some person who sits in the office and gives order. Okay?
Okay.
Or Brahmana, right? Who has the intelligence? Who studies Shastra? Who understands Shastra? What to do, what not to do? He becomes the Brahmana, the advisor to the king. So according to ability, people are given authority, not according to position. In artificial institution, legal institution, formal institution, the authority is given to a seat, a position, president, and it doesn't matter who sits there, qualified or not, they have the power. That's the difference.
Okay. We have all, yeah, done. Kings, ministry, как се каже.
Prime
Huh? Premier. Okay. Advisor of
Yeah, well,
kings and
hopefully one day we'll see when this whole society breaks down, we'll be able to see who the real kings are. Who are the men who are brave enough, who can understand what's right and what's wrong, and who are, you've got this group of people, you got to take care of them, and if somebody gets out of line, you have to.
I mean, all group like Chanakya Pandit. He's one of advisor of
Yeah.
king. Like this, many king have not one brahmana, many brahmana, many.
If he's lucky.
Yeah. I mean, in Vedic culture, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Ravana have, okay, when Rama attack, some advisor tell you must give Sita back. This Rama ruin everything,
Right.
and he don't want to listen.
The king does not have to listen. The advisor, they will say this or that. The king, if he accepts the advice, the king gets the credit if it's right. If the king does not accept, then the king gets the blame. So the king, he is in a very important position because he's man of Rajas, right? He wants recognition, right? So he doesn't have to listen to the Brahmana. If he doesn't, okay. If he's right, good, he gets the credit. If he's wrong, he gets the blame. Like this. So advisor means that, not dictator. He's just giving advice. King can take or not.
One more.
Hmm?
Ishavasyan. Who have, you said envious, and I have the Brahmana, simple, Kshatriya, not Kshatriya opposite, Vaishya, Shudra, little. This is hard task.
It's hard.
Okay.
It's okay.
Just translate. Pitam,
Okay.
znači, Išavasan princip, to je svako dobio onoliko koliko treba. I sad, kako to odrediti, i ne samo kako odrediti, nego jer će se roditi, ako nemaju svi isto, doći će do zavisti. Recimo, Brahmana bi treba imati malo, ono je jednostavno. Šatrija, oni vole obilje. Vajša je isto, trgovac. I nije to ništa loše, nego kako sad Šudra bi treba malo imati. Kako to sad sve iskomponirati, ne? Okay.
When they say, who will determine how much I should have? When I do. Okay? Each person themselves, they will decide. Now, if you have spiritually advanced culture, many people, their focus is spiritual development. And they understand the principle of living in sattva, then I become satisfied. Right? To get more means what? Rajas means dissatisfied. Okay? So you can imagine somebody who wants more. In a spiritual culture, everyone, they will think, this person is very unfortunate. They will not envy him because he has more. They will think, very sad that he thinks he has to get more. So, yeah, I don't personally think you should dictate who should have this, who should have that. Let them have what they want. is difficult for us because we're still in this culture of Rajagun
Yeah, I know.
to understand this. When this Rajagun is finished, when the money is gone, then getting more,
Then is no problem. Yeah.
getting more is not easy, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. So if you want it that much,
Okay.
go ahead,
Yeah.
you know. But most people, they'll be satisfied with what they need. Because you get more. What does more mean? You know, more corn? How much corn do you want? More potatoes?
More.
So what? You know, oh, I got 2 tons of potatoes. Oh, I've got 5 tons of potatoes. How many can you eat? Doesn't matter. 2 tons, 5 tons, right?
Yes.
You can eat 1 potato a day. So more becomes meaningless when you have a natural way of life. It's only an artificial way of life with money that you have this idea of getting more and more and more and enjoying. Yes, in this artificial way of life, you get money. You can live complete fantasy. Fly here, fly there, 4 houses. Meaningless. Everything becomes meaningless. There's no value to what you have.
Yeah.
So this is a whole society. It's all upside down. You take away money and everything, all the
Yeah, I think this prelazno razdoblje, kako se kaže? Mama. This period, transition.
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 I think it was bitiće, kako se, bitiće.
It will be.
It will be hard. Transition.
Yeah.
We don't
Sure.
have money. Great, no problem. But transition
Will be extremely difficult because, especially for those people who are attached,
yeah.
oh, they have to give up everything immediately all at one time. Oh,
Yeah.
extremely painful.
And everything is based on this in somebody's life.
I think sometimes, like some people living in New York City, 100th floor, some woman, she's got her nails 3 inches long and she's painting her nails all day, and she has so many nice clothes.
Yeah.
Okay, money finished. That whole life is just gone, finished in a minute.
Yeah.
And then what she will do, how she can adjust from that to reality.
Growing the food with the nails.
Oh,
Yeah. Like pogledaj, kako se kaže.
Yeah.
Some tools for
Yeah.
I mean, it will be extremely painful. Extremely painful for them. And that's what's coming, right? The Great Reset, they're planning to make the economy crash.
They said stop poverty.
Huh?
Stop poverty, they said.
Yeah, right.
They give poverty.
What they
and
mean
stop
is,
poverty.
we'll create poverty and then we will end poverty.
Yeah, give and stop.
So first you will have poverty and suffer, and then you beg from us and we will give you some money.
Yeah.
That's their idea.
Yeah.
That's exactly their idea. They want to go to, what do they call it? A guaranteed annual income, or like that. Guaranteed money they give you every month. But to get that money, you must do this, this, this. And when they give you the vaccine, they will be able to know what you're doing. This mRNA vaccine, this is called a operating system. Operating, like here. Huh?
Nanotechnology.
with the 5G antennas, and we are receiver for this signal.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So, yeah, they'll eliminate poverty that way, artificially. Yeah.
One question. For new valuta, new money for future, in this moment, maybe seed.
Seeds? Yeah, well, seeds, many things have been used for money. As long as people have this idea of exchange, right? You are different from me, so I have something, you have something, we exchange. Better idea is we are one and we share, right? What is yours is mine, what is mine is yours. Like this. This is a whole different mindset. But you had war, right? It's like this in war, isn't it? You don't think, we have to take care of each other. So this can quickly change. Unfortunately, it went back to I and mine.
Yeah, when it's go stable, then I mine.
Yeah. Okay, let's stop. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you for watching that video. If you have any questions about the material presented here, please post them in the comments section and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible. If you have not watched the introductory video, I encourage you to do so. The videos posted on the Spiritual Evolution playlist build one upon the other, and watching them in the numbered order will facilitate your understanding of the material. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you want to be notified of the next video, please also hit the subscribe notification bell. The possibility exists that someone on YouTube may take issue with what I've presented here. Some of my videos dealing only with spiritual subjects have been removed. Therefore, I post on multiple platforms listed in the comments section.